This is episode 129 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel, the Scrub-a-Dub-Dub Manzano.
I lost the game.
Just one. And Will finally got that invite. Hagewood.
It sounds like on point that I waited until the last minute.
It's okay. It worked out, right? You were in it. That's fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. All right, everybody. So today we had a bunch of different topics we're going to be touching on. But before we do that, something kind of funny. Before we lose our opportunity to do this, I'm going to send a text to these people. Right now, as we're speaking, if you guys know, Patreon rewards were delayed. Were delayed because we had Worlds and we had printing issues. But right now, I paid some of our Gold Squadron members, like, guys, here's some money. Can you please help me? And they're packing things like right now. So we're gonna go peek in. I left the camera on down there to see what they're doing. We can take a peek to see what's going down over there. We can just kind of look. They're out of water apparently. They're claiming that they don't have water. We can zoom in here. We'll turn on the microphone to see what's going on over there.
When I was watching, it was like every couple hours the price would drop a few bucks on the shirts, just because he was trying to get rid of them.
All right.
What is going on?
I'm listening in to see if what's going on down there. I just shot him a text saying we can hear you, so that they can say hi.
Do with the World Series loser shirt.
Well, I see Brandon's arm.
You see Brandon's arm.
I hear you.
And his
Did we
face.
say so? We were not
Can you move the camera? Is it like one of those
I
creepy
can.
cameras that you can move? You can?
I cannot.
Oh, you got to get one of those like creepy cameras that you just chase them around in.
I want them to say hi. I was hoping this. Oh, of course, the camera's gonna cut out. Did they cut the feed? All right. Well, there's a peek into the Gold Squadron basement. Let's go back. All right. Fun's over. Serious business now. Announcements. St. Louis, guys. Next week. Is it next weekend? Right?
Yes, next weekend.
Yeah. I guess not like, remember, not this weekend, but the one following. That's the, what are the numbers on those? The 8th through the 10th, right? The St. Louis Grand Championship is happening. Like, the organizers contacted me, okay? The organizers contacted me, and they said right now and I would listen. I see other people putting the numbers out there, so I'm going to go ahead and put it out there too. Saturday, there's only 22 people signed up. 22 people only signed up for Saturday. You need to make top 16 to make the cut. Win like a game, maybe two, and you probably make the cut. Of course, saying this, we might get an influx of people, but come on, guys, let's go get signed up for St. Louis. I know it's right after Worlds, but there are Worlds invites to win, and there's some fun to be had, and also an opportunity to get your Epic on. Okay, it's released on the 8th, right? I'm gonna try to see if we can get some product on hand somewhere and stream some games of that live from St. Louis. I think that could be really, really fun and cool. So go ahead and get signed up now. One note, and I did contact the tournament organizer about it. He said, my bad. Right now, the website does look a little bit confusing on how it all gets set up. So basically, Marcel, again, stop me if I'm wrong at any point. When you sign up, okay? When you sign up, basically you pay, it's base costing is $75, right, for the convention badge and taxes and all that stuff. But then the actual registration for the event doesn't cost anything, and that includes side events. So you can sign up for the main event, and if you were to get knocked out, or for instance, let's say you played on Friday, you could sign up for side events on Saturday, and it doesn't cost you any extra to play in those side events. So
yeah, nothing costs extra except painting events, and that's when I say nothing, I mean nothing for any of the
Right.
anything. So
Right.
if you want to play Destiny, you want to play a Warhammer or any other game, or you want to do demos, nothing is extra except they're going to have like some painting workshops, and the only reason they cost extra, you're only paying for the materials because they provide you with the paint, the brushes, and you get to keep that, and that's for you to keep. So you're just paying for the paints and the brushes. So I think it's pretty good. I'm playing on Friday, and Saturday I'm just going to hang out because usually when I go to Adepticon or I go to Gen Con, I've always just gone and done the X-Wing. Haven't really gotten around and done some of the other stuff, some of the demos.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of excited just to do that this time on Saturday.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. And Friday is supposed to be a few more people, so it's I think like 40 or 50 people on Friday, and they can definitely use more. But sign up for Saturday instead. I think Saturday sounds better.
That's right. So it's too close to Worlds. Yeah, I know. I think that's going to be one of the issues with this event is the fact that because it is so close to Worlds, some people have, they use their paid time off, or they've used the family points, whether it be wife points, husband points, whatever points you got to spend. Family points might be account might be a little bit low. And just the reality of also, right, it costs money to go to these events with travel and hotel. One suggestion I do have is if you want to go and you're having issues with like, well, I can't really afford a room by myself, go ahead and make a post on the Gold Squadron page or any of the other X-Wing pages. I would suggest either Gold Squadron or Fly Better, and just say, hey, looking for a roommate for St. Louis, willing to split room.
Yep, and I've already heard of a few people that are looking.
Yeah, exactly. So people are looking. We just need to, I feel like we should facilitate some type of place where people can do this, but like a centralized place, like going to event, want to share a room.
I think we should also we could probably also do like X-Wing specific couch surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a couch surfing, reciprocal couch surfing, where if you list your place available and how many people you can host, then you in return can do that with other folks. Or even if like more like a X-Wing specific couch surfing Airbnb, where it's like, hey, for $20, you can stay at my place. I'm just saying,
GSPB&B.
Getting that entrepreneurial Dion mind going, like, I know you can run with that deal.
You could stay in the Gold Squadron office if my wife says it's okay.
You can stay here.
There's an approved list of people. Marcel's on the list, but he lives in Chicago. Will's on the list, but it's like Marcel, Will, Ryan Farmer, Steven Gonzalez, and like that's about it right now. That's it. We're not
he just
Everybody else gets the basement.
Everybody else gets. That's right. You could stay, pack some envelopes. See, contrary to popular belief, my house is actually quite small. Like this is a very small. Will and Marcel have been here, right? I live on like just the top floor. We got like 2 bedrooms. My bedroom's actually supposed to be like the living room, but we made it into a bedroom. Whatever. Isophane, am I on the list? You can be on the list. Nice. Flexing a little bit. Am I on the list? Absolutely. Let's continue here. So, Worlds coverage.
Isophane. You can stay here.
There you go. We are currently uploading videos to YouTube. I hope you guys understand why we're not just like putting them all up at once. Like there is such thing as like content overload, because the way YouTube works is if I uploaded like all 60 games at once, a bunch of the games would end up getting not compressed. That's not the word I'm looking for. Basically, you wouldn't end up seeing them. Repressed. A bunch of the games would end up being repressed by the YouTube algorithm, essentially, and be like, oh, like a game showed up, even if I uploaded 60. So basically what we're doing is 2 to 3 a day. there are some issues with videos here and there that we're trying to solve in the background, which hopefully they should all end up being out. So, for instance, you guys got the top 4 game. At first, we didn't have that top 4 game. There was some issues. We solved it. So that was very nice. So, yeah, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube so you can catch all that action, especially if you didn't catch it live. Here's your opportunity. And by the way, we are uploading the full recordings of each game as well as the X Zone coverage. So if you want to relive that X Zone experience, you're just seeing like, what was everybody talking about? You can see that there too. Let's go ahead and we're jumping right into Worlds. I know that we took off last week mostly because I was still a crazy person. It's kind of crazy to think that Worlds was so soon. Like, it just happened. Really, it was just around the corner. And I was just still disorganized. My computer was barely put together. It was all over the place. So, but we're back, so this is a good opportunity to start talking about some of this stuff. The winner of Worlds, if you didn't know by now, was Ali Paknell out of the 186. And he flew an Imperial squad, which I figure is just a good opportunity just to go ahead and bring it up here. So here's a squad. We have Darth Vader with passive sensors and afterburners. You have Grand Inquisitor with no upgrades and Whisper with Fifth Brother and passive sensors. Will, what's going on here?
Well, it's a pretty classic 3 ace with as much modifiers as possible. Really leaning into the Force. So you got 3 Force charges on Vader, 2 Force on the Inquisitor, and 1 Force on Whisper through Fifth Brother. Whisper is also getting a pseudo Force, if you will, a pseudo defensive modifier in her ability, getting an evade when she hits. She's Whisper with passive sensors can get target lock and Fifth Brother, or target lock and focus, or excuse me. Yeah, the target lock would have to be from the round before, but you can get target lock and Fifth Brother to double modify attacks. Grand Inquisitors, while his offense is lacking sometimes, between 3 agility, linked actions, and high initiative, and those essential passive force defensive modifiers. Very good piece there. And then, obviously, Darth Vader coming in, has afterburners for boosting, comes in, hits like a truck. Very hard to kill. This has only a 3-point bid, which is really nice because the passive sensors can let you take locks when you engage, so that way you can wait for another high bidding list to move after you, but you can still acquire those offensive modifiers you need, because we were looking at bids in like 20 plus.
Yeah.
So even if you, with only 3 points here, I'm going to rely heavily on those passive sensors.
All right, so that was Ollie's list, and then the runner-up was Daniel Taylor flying a list for the Rebellion. You had Jake Farrell with just Crackshot, Lieutenant Blount with Crackshot, a naked Bandit Squadron pilot, that is a Z95, Wedge Antilles in the T-65 with Crackshot, and of course S-Foils, and then Braylon Strom with Crackshot and Jamming Beam, because it's free, and works sometimes against Phantoms. Marcel, what's going on in this list?
Really, it's just it's kind of a variant on the Rebel Beef that was going on, but now it's an additional ship, additional agility, and really it's just efficient. It reminds me like of the old something that Paul Hero would fly in maybe 3-4 years ago, where it's just a lot of efficiency, a lot of dice. There's not a whole lot of modifications outside of Braylon. Arvel, just straight. Lieutenant Blunt, I think, is really a sleeper. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him into lists. It's just I don't typically fly slow lists like this very often, but Lieutenant Blunt, it's really easy to make him a 3-attack ship. I think it's easier to make him a 3-attack ship than it is to make Drew a 3-attack ship. Well, because in Drew you have to throw him out in the corner somewhere, where Lieutenant Blunt, you just put him as part of the squad. You just fly him in the back a little bit at initiative 4.
Let's go ahead and before you go too far, let's go ahead and read his ability, just for anybody who's at home. The ability reads here: while you perform a primary attack, if there is at least one other friendly ship at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may roll 1 additional attack die.
Yeah, and so I think it's pretty easy to get his ability to trigger, much easier than it is to get Drew to trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same initiative. So I think he's underutilized. I think almost like Aaron Cracker. Aaron Cracker is probably like 2 or 3 points too expensive, but those are two Z95s that have a lot of usability if you can put them in the right squad, especially Aaron's ability in Initiative 5.
Awesome. So I'm pretty
Just
sure
efficiency. That's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely. I mean, this is definitely a super efficient squad. Brought lots of red dice. I think for FFG, seeing this type of final table, they absolutely loved it, right? Empire versus Rebellion. A lot of the world, the X-Wing world was kind of screaming about Nantex, and it was going to just destroy worlds. Were they out there? Yes, of course they were out there. Did they do some bad things to people? Probably. But being able to see a Rebel versus Imperial final, it felt good in the fluff, and especially that there were 2 lists that had to, for a lack of a better term, play the game. Right? You guys know what I mean, right? So there's the people out there who. Right, there's the strategies that don't look like normal X-Wing. So, for instance, and let me be clear here. I'm not hating on Mitch, the Star Viper player. Like he was playing within the rules. That's fine, whatever. But his strategy, similar to the Quad Phantoms, is control a corner. Right, it's the moving fortress is what they call it. Right, you control a corner. You make sure to control your engagement and make sure that you're engaging on your time. But both of these squads, you basically had a rebel list that tries to go after people and create kill boxes, and you had some arc dodgers / force users. I think it was just a really great beginning to have a final for 2nd edition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's interesting to me is that we've seen other than. For recent point changes for the ships in each list, mm-hmm. Vader recently went up, Whisper recently went up, but the Grand recently went down a little bit. On the Rebel side, Jake went down.
Went up. Jake, yeah.
Yeah, Jake went down, I think, not this update, but the last update. No changes to Blunt or the Z's at all. But Wedge and Braylon went up as well. Mm-hmm. So we see 4 ships that recently went up still make it on the table, which I think means that variable pricing or the changing in the pricing, being able to tweak them just a little bit here and there, finally can get these into sweet spots to where they're still very efficient. Like Wedge and Braylon are like mainstays in the Rebels. Vader. Whisper, mainstays for the Empire, and Inquisitors now too. So very interesting to see the ships whose points went up still making it in the cut and doing well.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think it was a great final, and once again, congratulations to Ali, our first world champion for 2nd edition. I'm sure of course he's excited about it. I got to see him right at the very end of the night after because we packed up everything when we were done, and just for a minute I got to bye Ali, and he was just like in a daze. Still hadn't processed the fact of what had happened. It was pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and talk about before we get there, I want to talk about some interesting data about the World Championships, and I want you guys to guess. Hopefully you guys didn't cheat and look behind the curtain.
I didn't.
What? Ruined
it's so
it.
Easy. You just highlight it and it shows everything.
But I told you no.
I didn't spoil it.
Thank you.
Oh,
Will.
you wrote no peeking on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It literally, guys, people at home, okay, literally in the notes it says no peeking and highlighted in black. Like that's some.
Okay. Can I
Anyway.
get the first guess?
Anyway, so my first question here is so the top 5 ship choices. So Will, I'll have you go. Okay, I'll have
Alright.
you answer this question because I got more questions that
Is it
aren't
ships
listed
or pilots?
here. Ships. Okay. So the question is. So Will, can you not look at the notes here for a second? Okay.
Well, get them off your screen, I
Get
guess.
it off the screen. Okay.
There you go.
Right
Perfect.
there. Okay. Cool. So so let me clarify my question first to make it clear. So my question is, what do you think of the top 5 ships? And for instance, if somebody brought 6 vulture droids, it only counts as 1 for a single list. Okay? So most popular ship 1 to 5, top 5, what do you think?
TIE Advanced X1. Wait, not in any particular order, by the way. I'm just going by faction.
Okay.
I don't know if you have that stat.
I do.
Oh, all right. Well, and I would say most represented ship, Vulture. Second most, the the V1 TIE Advanced. Third, the X1 TIE Advanced. I would say X-wing, and oh man, the last one's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say Boba Lab.
Okay, interesting. So Marcel, you did look at these numbers, you know the answers?
Yeah, but
Wait, no, I want to change Boba Lab to Aether Sprite. What am I?
my memory is questionable.
All right. Well, I'll have Will, this will be Will's question. I'll give you another one. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't remember anything.
in order, the top ship represented. So remember, multiple copies of a ship in a list still can only count as 1 for the purposes
Sprite.
of our question. Was yes the Aether Sprite number 1? 103 lists had a Jedi Starfighter in them. At number 2 was the TIE Interceptor, aka Winterfell, right? Let's be honest. At the 3rd position, that's 74, by the way. Tied at 74 was the T-65 X-Wing, a.k.a. Wedge, or Luke. Tied at 4th with 73 appearances, 73 different lists where Boba Lab was. Sorry, I just said it. Right there was the Boba Lab with 73, wrecked. And then in the 5th position was the TIE X-1 with 70 appearances. So the Vulture was not, in fact, part of the top, what's the number I'm looking for? Top 5. I think probably maybe because, like, I'm using every as a very wide term, but every separate list had a Boba Lab in it, but maybe necessarily didn't have a Vulture. So you had, like, Nantexts with Grievous, and then you have Seer with Vultures. So I think that's what we got there.
Hey, William, where's what?
Where's what?
Yeah.
Ah,
Here you go.
what? Yeah, what's not good apparently.
All right, next question. Marcel.
Mm.
So many different upgrades were brought to the World Championships. Do you know what was the most used upgrade?
Single most used upgrade.
Yes.
I would have to probably go with Crack Shot, just because it's cheap and it's useful no matter where you are.
Winner, chicken dinner. It was Crack Shot. Absolutely.
Kind of an easy one.
Hey, I mean, I'm sure at least one person in their car said something wrong. Okay, but it's okay, person in car. Don't be mad. Pay attention to the traffic in front of you. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was just really neat. Just looking at some of those numbers, I just pressed the button I wasn't supposed to. There we go. Dion breaking stuff. So I think that's really cool. But we have a couple other stats that I wanted to take a look as this loads. Okay, now in total, you guys were asking. So Will, earlier you talked about, you said vultures, right? That was the first kind of that pilot jumped out of you.
Sure.
That was just straight for its faction. It was the most represented ship, single ship, of course, right? Because you bring them in swarms. There's no reason not to do that. You had 158 of them. 158 total drones brought. Now here's my question, Marcel.
Mm.
I gotta make this one tricky. I gotta make this one a little tricky. I got all these numbers in front of me. For the Galactic Republic, what was the top pilot brought? The pilot brought the most.
Obi-Wan?
Correct, with 56.
You're showing your screen so I can see the
Oh, dang it.
top 5 table.
Wrecked. See, Marcel's he's Jaden. Stop Jaden. Okay. You guys saw all the information. Like, oh, let me just scroll through all this stuff. Wrecked so hard. All right.
Well, I thought you were. I didn't know what you were doing. I'm like, okay.
All right.
That's
All
fine.
right. I got some highlights out of here that I was looking through here.
Go for it.
And it's actually Fen Rao in Skill and Villainy gets into the top 5 as pilots flown. Cartel Marauders, Kirax's most flown scum ship. What is this world that we live in? The other one.
I'll go ahead and pull this up so people can see it at home who are watching. So we're looking at this column right here. So this document is actually provided by FFG, and just really interesting, right? I mean, the top Kirax, yes, it is a top, but it's 36, 36 total of them, and each list brought 3, right? Let's be honest. What is that? Math.
12.
12. There you go. 12 triple Kirax with Torkel Mux lists.
No, because there was other people with it. Like Darius brought one of them, and
Talonbane.
no, he brought a. Darius is the other person that went 7-0 in day one, and he had the Torkel, Seavor, a Marauder, and then he had not a gunboat, a tugboat.
Are you talking Tirani Kolda?
No. He had a variant of the Torkel list, like the Seavor one, but he had L337, he had a tugboat, and he had a Cartel Marauder, Torkel, Seavor, and something else.
That fits.
Yeah, he put his own twist on it.
Interesting.
All right. That's pretty cool.
I got a couple other here. While we're talking about pilots, I think this is really interesting to see, like, what pilots actually are like being played and like popular. And I think each faction ends up with an underdog, like the Omega Squadron for the First Order as the most played ship. A generic SF seems crazy to me. I mean, obviously we know what the build is, but like.
Right.
The fact that beats out any other pilot is still awesome. Finn, who got nerfed hard, but he's still the most represented.
It's the Resistance.
Exactly. That he still gets still gets put into every list. Still the big deal onto there. I think the other one. That was interesting to me. Was in the Galactic Republic. Anakin's not in the top 5 for the Galactic Republic.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, he's too expensive, right? Essentially, to get the rest of the stuff in there.
Obi-Wan does the same thing at I-5, and for like 20 points cheaper.
I think the initiative is a lot. I think a lot of people that would have flown Anakin, on the first day, I did fly against Anakin towards the end of the day. I just think they got beat out by a tiny bit, and I think a lot of people that were potentially thinking of bringing Anakin got scared away by by the Nantex. I really do. I think the Nantex had, even though they didn't win, and that's something that we didn't talk about, and I don't know if we will, but you guys, you talked about how those lists like Ollie's and Daniel, they made the top tables or the final table, and there was a lot of what you didn't expect and not the boogeymen that you were thinking. But I think the boogeymen were still out there, and they still had an impact as far as scaring away a lot of the lists that probably would have been at the top.
Marcel,
have it around.
that's a great transition into the upgrades. And I see here that Ensnare was represented 39 times.
Right there. Boom. The most copies of anything for a Separatist were 115 copies of grappling struts. But now it's interesting to look, right? So if you look at the pilots, so 158 Trade Federation drones and then 40 Separatist drones, so that gives you 198 of them. So that tells you roughly 75% of drones are rogering on the rocks. Do you think maybe, this kind of data makes you think about obstacles just a little bit, right? You're like, well, if I'm playing, I know it seems kind of obvious, but it's kind of a way to look there and say, should I really be bringing asteroids? Is that a good idea? Should I be bringing debris, or should you be bringing gas clouds? Like, is that, if your weakness is these Roger drones, you should probably not have rocks with you?
Or tractor beams putting you on rocks.
Yeah, that too. Yep. So we'll just kind of...
Don't bring gas clouds. Play the game.
So we'll just do a quick read down of the pilots here that were used. So I think did they do that for us? So overall, total number of copies, top 5 here. You had Trade Federation Joan with 158 copies, 56 copies of Obi-Wan Kenobi, 55 Gold Squadron Troopers, 53 Inquisitors, that is the generic one, and 47 Darth Vaders. And if you want to look at all the stats here, where you can see the top 5 for every faction, top 5 upgrades in each faction and all that, you can go ahead and take a look at the link where you're going to put it in the description of the video and of the podcast. You can take a look at that. This was published by FFG. Absolutely awesome. There's all kinds of information in here that you can parse. And, of course, it's also available on List Juggler. But this is a nice, easy way to just look at basically those top 5 information and just get a little more... precise is not the word I'm looking for. What's the word? Concentrated information that you need. All right. So, next question for you guys is I want you to give me. Oh, sorry. I remember the next thing. Faction representation. For your guys' personal experience, obviously you see my numbers for the cut. How did you feel your draws went when it comes to seeing different factions? Did you see a lot of different factions? Did you notice in your personal journey a lot of a certain one? What did you guys see out there?
I'm trying to think back, and I think a lot of I think the only repeats that I had were Separatist and Grand Republic. I played and basically a single of everything else, like a single Empire and a single Scum, things like that. But I saw multiple iterations of the Grand Republic, a Sinker Swarm, and a Triple Aces, and basically the same thing for Separatist. I saw a Triple Ace squad, 4 Aces, and then like a mini Swarm for Separatist. So I would say mine was pretty much on par with what the average is.
What about for you, Marcel?
Oh, I think I played a little bit of everything. I played Resistance. It's the Resistance, Kalen Wong. So I played against Kalen. I played against Bohan, who flew Imperials. I flew against... Actually, I think I flew more Imperials than anything else. I think I flew against 3 Imperials, which was Bohan, Lee, William, played against Will, Imperials, played against Duncan, Imperials, and I think I had one more Imperials in there. So I think I played against 4 Imperials, and did not play against Rebels. No Rebels.
Well, overall, the Empire was the most represented out of all the factions. But one of the things that I want to talk about here are the numbers for what made the cut, because this gives us an idea of how things fit competitively and how kind of the meta ended up coming out after the melting pot that is 2 days of Swiss, and seeing how things shake out. So 47 players made day 2, and every single faction was represented. So we had 10 Separatists, 10 Grand Republic. So you see those new factions right there coming out strong. 8 Grand Republic, 7 Rebel Alliance, 6 Scum and Villainy, 3 Resistance, and 3 First Order. We know that one of those Resistance lists does make it to the top 4. Is that how far Kalen went? Was it top 4?
Top
Top
8.
4 or top 8? Top 8.
Top 8. Yeah, because he lost against Star Vipers.
Yes. But so I just really liked the fact that we saw all of the factions make it, and then even by the time we got to the top 8, we still had 6 out of the 7 factions still in it, which was absolutely awesome. Just to see the diversity in the game showing itself, and we did not see a one-sided meta. We saw a lot of different things. Yes, did people bring some similar tools in each of the factions? Yes, did maybe each player in a certain faction bring similar tech? Sure, but most importantly, each of the 7 factions were viable, with First Order being the least viable from our data. Now, what I want to talk about here in transition here is just let's take a moment, and I want to hear about your guys' personal experiences from Worlds. The floor is yours. We're going to have Marcel go first, followed by Will, and then I'll cap it off. Talk about pretty much whatever you want, but I want to hear how you did, and then any extras you feel like throwing in there. Marcel, this is your time.
So is it just in general about Worlds, or specifically about the tournament?
I want the tournament, and then you can talk about whatever else you want. The floor, it's your open time.
Okay, so as far as the tournament goes, I actually felt really good. I thought I played really well, and I felt like I was on my game the entire tournament, even up until probably minus the last 2 turns against Duncan, but everywhere up to.
So how did you do? What was your record?
So
for people who don't know.
Okay, so I played day 1A, and I went 7-0 against some pretty good competition. Again, I beat Pick Kalen Wong. I got to beat Bohan Lee. Played against William. So some pretty good competition. I did as good as can be expected. 7-0, and then in day 2, I earned the bye in the first round. Second round, I played against the Separatist Swarm with Captain Sear. I won that game 14-0. It was brilliant. A very exciting 14-0 because we shot at each other a lot. I did not run away, and we just didn't do any damage to each other. It was like really cold reds on both sides and really hot greens. And I finally got the 14 points, half on one of his ships in the very last turn. And then lost to Duncan in the top 32. So, again, I felt really good about the list. For those who don't know, I flew Anakin in the Naboo Starfighter, Rick Oley, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. All in all, I thought it was a really good tournament. I thought I played the best. I had the best technique and gameplay that I've had in any other Worlds. But yet, I've even going 7-0 and going top 32 was the worst performance I've done at a Worlds to date. So, which is just kind of weird.
You lost one game.
But it's still like I lost one game
yeah.
at a tier higher than another Worlds had made top 8, and
Right.
it's just it's different.
So
But I think
watched...
Worlds is good. And Worlds has been good to me so far. 3 for 3 with the cut and performing well.
Yeah, the game is your game up on YouTube yet? I don't know if it's
Yeah, it
popped
came
up.
out today, and I saw
Okay.
it today, and I was mentioning like there was 3 or 4 different ways to win that game. Had Anakin not taken that critical. Um, I flew over a debris cloud to run away and not get shot. And I ended up taking a direct hit critical, which made me have to redo things with Rick instead of basically I just needed to get 1 damage on red line. Red line, yeah, red line. With a target lock focus, Rick had Anakin not taking that damage. But since Anakin took that damage, then I had to reposition myself to try to get a shot on Soonter instead of going after red line. But c'est la vie. So anyway, so overall tournament wise, I thought I did great. I enjoyed it a lot. As far as experience wise, I loved it. This time around, after going to Euros and getting to see a lot of the people that I met at Euros that I hadn't met at other tournaments before, and I don't know if Dion, it was the same thing for you, but like I had met Maciej and a lot of people at
Right.
previous Worlds, Fawn and had met them at previous either Adepticon or Gen Con or different or at one of the other worlds. But going over there and being the visitor over there
Yep.
and being surrounded by nothing but them for an
Yeah.
entire week. When I saw them now this time around, there was a heightened level of connection and Darren Granger just amazing guy. Bartos and the entire Polish crew. I think I know I became infamous for being that guy that jumped into the pool with his clothes on. Uh, yeah, I was that guy. And basically, what happened is we went after Saturday after me and Bartos both got knocked out of the cut. Bartos made it to the top 8. We went back to his hotel, and then that
Oh,
entire
I remember. I remember you had a whole conversation with me that you don't remember.
I don't remember any of it.
It
I
was
remember jumping in the
hilarious.
pool. I remember going to the bar after. I remember telling people, "Hey, touch my clothes," and I'm like soaking wet. But I don't remember much more than that. Yeah, it was good times. So, and I remember going the next day on Sunday, and the bartender lady at the stand
Uh-huh.
saying, because I was talking to her the day before, and I call everybody brother. So when everybody says, "Hey, brother," so she started like, just we playfully like making fun out of brothers and stuff like that. On Saturday, when I showed up Sunday, she's like, "Hey, how you doing today?" I said, "I'm doing okay. I'm kind of recovering from last night." She's like, "Well, at least you're not the guy that jumped in the pool." And I was like, "No, I kind of am."
Actually, false.
So I didn't even know how she was like talking about the guy that jumped in the pool. But for the internet out there, I jumped in to how do you say to save the the damsel in distress. So what happened is we were out there
To save
drinking.
your fiance's honor.
Yeah. So Bartos grabbed her by the leg and pulled her in with her clothes on. She didn't have any electronics. He had told me ahead of time. He was like, grab her electronics, and I did it. So,
So wait, so you were in
so
on it. It was all a show. It was all a facade.
but maybe she's listening now, but she didn't know. So, but then after he did it, I did the people's elbow, like the flying elbow, and then started wrestling in the water. It was brilliant. I loved it. Not a lot of, it's not every day that a 40-year-old man and I think Bart was like 35, 36, are jumping around in the pool wrestling. So that was fun. Yeah, so overall, I just had a really good time. And for those that have not, for those of us in the States that don't really get out and travel to some of the international events, even if it's just Canada because they're close by, then it's not
So,
that hard
no,
to get.
we still love you, Canada.
Yeah, just getting out there and being the guest, being the visitor, just adds something extra. I can't talk about it enough.
You know, to bounce off of what you said earlier with having spent time in Europe and being able to see all the European players at Worlds, for me, it was kind of a surreal experience. Having streamed and all this and being able to spend time with everybody, to walk into Worlds. I mean, I guess I was the first person there usually, but like to see everybody there and going, I know all these people. It's just like I have streamed so many games at this point, and with the number of games we were able to do in Euros and Australia, it's just like looking out into this crowd and recognizing so many faces and knowing so many names is pretty amazing. There's still people I don't know, and I want to get to know you, okay? I want to get to know you. And if I haven't asked you to be on the streaming table yet, it's not because I don't like you. It's because you smell bad. And just kidding. Just haven't had the chance to. But it's been fun. It's amazing. Will, tell me about your Worlds, man. What'd you fly? How'd you do? Give us the history. Let us know.
All right. So I took David Kelly's Vader, Echo, Psy. And I've been toying with the Nantex and Vultures and all these things, and I just I didn't have the heart to play Vultures. I got essentially bored with them doing the same thing. I don't know, maybe it was like repetition or something, but in the bad way that I'd always do the same. Like my first 3 rounds were always the same, and I just didn't have the heart for it. So I betrayed everything I knew, threw it all away, and joined the Empire, which is actually a list I really liked. I don't know if you guys know, but I see it as still a heavy hitter, annoying ship, and my tanky support ship. It's the 3-ship strategy I like if I'm going that route. And it's got, the Lambda, who I like. Echo is my favorite Empire ship. And Vader. You can't get more iconic than Vader. But I really liked it, but I actually was flying it quite a bit. So it isn't like I just randomly chose it or anything. But did pretty good. Had to play in the last chance qualifier. And went 5-1. I played the last game. I was getting a little let's say celebrating a little bit too hard in the last couple of games. So maybe it was still a tough game against Inquisitors and Jendon, but I just don't think that I was flying very well in it. So I ended up going 5-1 that day. Enough to get into the what did we play? Wednesday? Yeah, we played Wednesday. Thursday, that's right.
All the days,
I played every day, so
right. Yeah, it was like a time warp for sure. Like I got back to work on Monday. Like what are we doing? What is going on?
But yeah, I had a very similar experience that everybody I played, except for I guess I met a couple of new people, but most of the people that I played I either knew from online, doing some practice games on Vassal and Tabletop, or I'd met them through Gold Squadron, either down at Nova or through the internet in some way. So it was really fun to play people. Fortunately, I'd played Marcel in the second round, but that's actually not bad. Marcel, we never actually get to play. We always get to play in the tense situations.
Mm-hmm.
We played, I think,
round 2.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of I think the only time we've played this season was just recently, right? At the Chicago Pastimes and at Worlds.
Yeah, I think just during the Hyperspace and Worlds, I think they're the only times that we've gotten to play.
Yeah, so it's actually, well, it doesn't sound exciting. There's a picture. You all look depressed in it, but I was I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, at least it'll be fun. Like
Mhm.
win or lose. Went terribly for me. I should have known better, but you're right. You're just on your game, and I was struggling that game. Let's see, but I ended up going. Uh, I'm trying to think that. So I was 3-2 going into round 6. So I just had still had 2 more games to win, and my round 6 opponent had a bid, and I did not. I had a bid on 4s. I was like, "Why are you bidding on 4s?" No, just for me, just for me.
For you.
But yeah, that so that game did not go quite as planned, and that it ended up taking me out. But I had a lot of fun the whole day. I lost my voice because I was just laughing and screaming, uh, having a great time. Except for one game, I will say, I don't remember his name, but I was having a really off game against this guy from Philly, and I don't know. I'm like a symmetrical person, so I always put my people perpendicular. But
Right.
in some point in time, Vader's at like the 22 and a half or so, and I don't even know what angle Echo's at. Is some like 15% or something.
Yeah.
So all my ships are at goofy angles, and I can't figure out how to like everything. Every time I try to decloak Echo, it's blocked by something, and I barrel rolled Vader out of a shot because he had such a goofy angle. I was just like, oh man, this game is going terribly. But luckily, um, luckily I was able to keep a good spirit. I was trying to make a joke about purple maneuvers,
Right.
but that's not a thing. And everyone's taking me so seriously. I was just like, man, I'm having a rough game. I'm just trying to have some fun over here.
William Hagwood, have you read the rules reference? Those don't exist.
Yeah.
Aren't you on a podcast?
Yeah.
You're supposed to know your stuff.
I know. I was jesting. I was trying to jest people, and it wasn't working out. But I squeezed by that one. Echo just like nattied out for the turn. She couldn't decloak. And I eventually got the win on it, but I didn't feel good about the game because my flying was just atrocious in it. But yeah, that ended up. I had actually a great round. The final round. And I was actually pretty upset going. I was 3-3 at that point in time, and I told my opponent like, hey man, I don't know if my heart's in it right now for this last game, but if you want to play, I'll play you. And I had an amazing game with the guy. Same thing. Everybody was laughing and having a bunch of fun. So that was pretty much, like I said, my most of my experience at Worlds was just laughing and. I thought everybody was having a great time. I'd played in a couple side events, tried out the countdown, which was super weird.
Yeah, that's a great transition because I was going to ask you it's the chess clock thing, right?
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know, it seemed like a testing ground to kind of see how this would function, and I saw a couple of videos, and it just seemed really awkward. So tell us kind of how did it work?
All right. So the main thing is there's very strict rules on it, but the main thing is the clock is counting, not moving ships. Okay.
Okay.
Because when you get bumps in the railroad tracks and whose time is the railroad track in here and stuff like that, or if like just so, or it also penalizes multiple ships. If you bring 8 ships, you're actually penalized for the clock that you're using. So that was what they went with. It doesn't count time, so they're counting just the decision making you're having. And originally, the time was set at 40 minutes, which sounded reasonable if we counted moving. But without counting movement, it was me. And oh my god, this was a hilarious So it was Nabi from Australia.
Uh-huh.
It might be from England,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm
actually,
pretty sure.
you're right. You were in the video that I saw.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was me and Nabi. Yeah, from Australia. And so Nabi's hard of hearing. He's got I guess like hearing aid, I
Yeah.
guess. And he's so, but it's him with a hearing aid, and who's a lip reader, so that he can understand people, and then me, who has lost his voice and has a mustache covering my mouth. So just like and we're trying to figure out the time clock too. So it was kind of a rough game at first, but
What I'm imagining is you taking like hair clips and like taking your mustache and
yeah,
like pinning it back
I
so you can
was
help the
trying
guy.
I was trying to, but I was like, this is the worst. Like, oh, I had a great time. I love the game. But yeah, I was like, this is the worst pairing right now. A guy who can't talk and a guy who can't hear. But yeah, the chess clock was very interesting because, like I said, it only counted your decisions. So,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of people were flying lists that had basic decisions, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
either they only have one action. You know, I always take this one action, or things like that. And so I'm flying Han Jake. Basically, Han either boost and Jake either barrel rolls and then boost or whatever. You know, I mean, he just does a reposition and takes a focus. So it's like pretty minimal. So in the first game, we calculated it that I think I had like 7 minutes of decision time, and Nabi had about 10 or so. Which
Okay.
honestly, I think that sounds about right. Like in an average game, that seems pretty fair, right? Um, but then, yeah, who knows?
I have no idea.
Uh, I mean, later on they changed the rules actually because 40 minutes was way too long.
Okay.
And they actually shortened it down to 25. So we had 25 minutes of decision time.
Each player.
Each player would only have 25 minutes of decision time, yeah.
So,
But it was,
quick question, Will. So, does that mean that if you ran out of your 25 minutes before total destruction of your enemy, you lost?
you lost, yes.
Okay.
So the clock is working against you. But like I said, if we, I think the meta right away was weird. I wish I would have been able to bring two lists and see which, like, how I would fly how I would fly my regular list in the time thing, because I ended up playing Octacan.
Yeah.
Am I saying it
Yeah.
right? Actia,
Run,
but
runner up, I think of
Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
Yep. Great guy, had a great game, but he was flying a two-ship build who has very basic choices for actions as well. So like halfway through the game, we're like, why are we? I'm at like 2 minutes, and you're at like 3 minutes. Like no, we're like neither one of us is really using a lot of decision time because
Uh-huh.
of how our lists were being built. So I think overall, I think it's a way that should be somehow implemented, but the chess clock isn't exactly the right format. And I think that there's data to be gained from that about how, because it like moving is just a natural part of the game. Like I'm moving my ships as fast as I can for the most part, but it's those decision making. It's like one player sitting on that boost and barrel roll for
Right.
minute after minute. Each time that they do it, are they taking a full minute or are you taking 5 seconds to make those decisions? So, but I think that most people, well, we're like nowhere close to eating up that 25 minutes of time. So, I think everybody who was playing it was making fairly well. You have to, but everybody
Right.
was making fairly quick decisions.
And I wonder if that was part of the reason we saw. I didn't see it, but maybe you saw not that much time being eaten up because people knew that that was the whole point of it, was to try to speed up. So I wonder if just the presence of the clock made it so the clock wasn't necessary. If that makes sense, right?
Oh,
Uh,
sure, yeah, because yeah, you would be like, well, another thing is that a lot of people, I think it's standard for me, but a lot of people don't think about, so when they flip their dial, right,
right.
they're like, most ships only have like one decision. From the time it's your turn to flip your dial to the time you're done activating, you only really had that one action decision in there. Everything else is kind of just preordained, right?
Right.
And a lot of people, I think, caught on to that quickly of like, I'll just say my action. Like, I should be thinking about my action while I'm moving my ship. Which, like I said, I think is pretty much the standard for me, but it gets you into that mentality of wanting to keep the game moving because you are on that forced clock. And it's, I don't know, like I said, if it's the best way to go about it, but it's an interesting way to interact with the clock that isn't just when time runs out, who's got the most points. Jimmy said that it's not going to be seen or anything, so it's not going to be the standard or anything, but it's interesting to take a look at. But the problem is with so many diverse lists, like separatist swarms, like
Right.
they seem like they eat up a lot of clock, but most of the time they're only making. I'm calculating. Do I bear a roll? Those are
Right.
pretty much their only questions outside of like dial time. So I guess that was the only other thing I'll say about it was that so how the dial times worked is we both have dials in our hands, but you put yours down, which will start my clock then. And then so my 25 minutes is being eaten up while I'm fiddling with my dials, and it's not stopped until I put my dials down. But like I said, I don't think anyone was really having too much of a problem with it. I think that was a pretty reasonable amount of time. What is and I'll flip this on to you, Dion. Let me ask you a question.
Go for
'Cause
it.
I don't really have much else to say about the rest of Worlds, other than big shout out to everybody at the Gold Squadron house. Very successful. We had we had some people with housing problems. We were able to help them out and solve them. So good. What do I say? Reminded that even in the tightest of communities, that's still everybody's very supportive in things for like outsiders and stuff. So big shout out to Brandon, who's boxing stuff up right now.
I
He's the
think
guy.
I think they left. I think they should be gone by now.
They're like, we're out of here.
We
he's
could take a
let's-
quick peek. Yeah, they're gone. The computer's closed.
All right. Yeah, that was a great time. I don't normally get to hang out with like the pastimes crew, so
Right.
spending the whole weekend with them was amazing. But anyways, let me flip this on to you. Actually, speaking of that, just as far as like decision making and stuff, I've always felt that games in the cut, people are playing slower. Would you say, on average? I feel like more games in the cut go to time.
That's it. So in my experience from casting, honestly, I feel that all games go to time. Almost all of them. On average, I'm just throwing, this is not a measured number by any means, but I would say 95% of games are going 70 plus minutes. I'll put it there. Like they're either ending on time or they're not. So I don't know. I mean, you notice the games in the cut more because people are being more meticulous. So that just might be kind of the bias of what it is. Yeah. That's I think for that that's what I think there. But yeah, I'll go ahead and take the reins here about my world's experience. My world's experience was spent sitting in front of this computer that I'm sitting in front of right now, controlling the X zone. If you guys didn't, maybe you didn't know what we did, or you didn't catch it, or this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. I love you. I'd love to see you more. Okay, we casted 3
That was
games.
sultry.
Hey, listen, I'm here for the people, and they're here for me. That was really cheesy.
You know, Ryan just posted like a 3-mile long post that started with, "To be a podcaster, you have to be A level narcissistic."
What?
That kind of sounded a little.
Listen,
Eh.
I just work here, okay? Let's continue. I
We
just
love
work
you.
here. So, we did the X Zone. What is the X Zone? We had cameras on not one, not two, but three different tables all at the same time, and I was basically the director. I was cutting back and forth between games. Eventually we got a nice flow where we had a main game. We had one game that was being taken care of by our editor, and he'd feed me clips, and then we check it out, and then just another game where we would just kind of check in during planning. It was really great. I know some people, it was really interesting. Some people were really triggered because they were like, but I can't control what I'm watching, Dion. You're controlling it. I was like, that's the whole point. That's the experience. That's the X Zone experience. And of course, there's a lot of people like, couldn't you just stream to 3 different channels? I could have, yes, but that doesn't help the channel. And it's about, of course, keeping the Gold Squadron community together and creating the content. And of course, and then in the end, we end up with YouTube videos for everything anyway. So by having the Gold Squadron stream cover 3 tables at once, the idea was that we are experiencing this all together, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. We had the most live viewers we've ever had at once. During Worlds, we had 1,300 and something people at one time on Twitch, which was amazing. It was great. People started calling it GSPN, which was super fun. The X Zone, we ran with it. And this is just a great opportunity. And I was like trying to work on like a post or like a picture or like a collage. And I think I'm probably still end up doing this. But I want to read the list of people that made this possible. Okay? Because really it was a ton of people to get this one stream going. Okay? The one thing you were watching, it took a ton of people. So first, of course, we had our podcast hosts, right? I bounced a lot of ideas off of Will and Marcel, and even though they were playing, I definitely, and maybe them were like, "Wow, we didn't do anything." Well, listen, in my opinion, yes, you guys did. You guys helped me out in just the constantly supporting what we do here. So, Will and Marcel, there's 2. Of course, everybody who has helped us out financially. The people were I had a couple people look at all the stuff and go, Dion, what did this cost? And I basically told you don't want to know. And that is the true answer. In order to pull it off, of course, I paid for travel for people and for room and board and things like that, and of course the equipment that we needed to do all the things. And FFG didn't pay for the internet or the power. We paid for it ourselves. It was, and without everybody who has supported, the X Zone would have never happened. That's just putting that flat out there. Would not have happened. Would not have been possible. But as I told you guys every time, when you guys support us, that stuff's getting to work, getting put to use. So I was like, you know what? We can make this happen. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So thank you guys. And that's whether you've ever been a Patreon at all. You are currently, Twitch subscribers, people who watch, people who've bought the merch, all the stuff, supported the sponsors, all that stuff. You are a supporter. Thank you so much. And now, individual people here. We had Justin. Justin was our live editor and a production assistant. He's actually a Chicago area local. He doesn't play with us at Gold Squadron because he lives out in Oswego. That's a farther suburb. But man, he did such an amazing job behind the scenes. He had a lot of great ideas for me. And it was just really great to work with him, and I look forward to working with him again. Our lead commentators, we had Asa Graf, we had Nami Lay, we had Kevin Walker, and Jake from Echo Base. Those were our lead commentators, just holding it down, making sure they were dedicated, they were there. Nami and Asa were 2 people who I brought in and said, all right, I need some strong personalities to carry this table because I'm not going to be able to do it. And it turns out I ended up being sick for Worlds, so it ended up working out. Thank you. They just did an absolutely amazing job. Then we had our co-commentators. We had Darren Granger, who volunteered a bunch of his time while he was hanging out. We had Ryan Farmer. We had Paul Olson and Mikhail Jenkins, who before Worlds volunteered their time and said, hey, I know that we're going to be at Worlds, and I'd like to use some of my time to help you out, Dion. So thank you to them. And then we had some guest commentators, some people, just a little bit of, not sporadic, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word. What's the word? Not sporadic. Sudden, not sudden. Anyway, they were there, and they said, hey, we want to help, and we threw them in there. So thank you to Sheev Daniel and Travis the Johnson, Paul Heaver, Duncan Howard as well. And, also, sorry, another co-commentator / sponsor, we had Andrew Knuckles. And then also thank you to Luke Carrington, of course, of the Gold Squadron Paintcast, for painting all the awesome ships that we gave away and for moderating the chat the whole time. And then also to Nick Sperry, our editor, who is helping me out getting everything up and also helped create a couple of really cool graphics that we used live. I mean, it was amazing. It was, how many names did it was a lot of names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 people to bring you a weekend of stream, okay? It was ridiculous. And I'll be honest. One thing I'm a little worried about, okay? We had this amazing experience. Next weekend when we're at St. Louis, guys, it's one table, okay? It's one table because I'm by myself. There's going to be a little bit of a stream hangover, right? You're like, this is just not, it's not what I remember. I'm sorry, okay? We can't do X Zone all the time. I think we're going to try to do it twice a year. We're going to do it Worlds, and I'm thinking Adepticon. The home turf. What do you guys think?
Adepticon what?
Adepticon and Worlds, 2 times a year. We can do
Oh, you talking
X-Zone.
about X-Zone?
Yeah.
I would say 3 times a year.
What do you mean 3 times a year? What else?
Flex it. Adepticon, Worlds, and whatever you land on for Gold Squadron hosted tournaments.
Fair.
You got to bring it out for your own event.
That's true. Man,
And,
I have to hire all these people.
You don't have to hire. You've got plenty of people here in Chicago that can.
I mean, I say hire, but you're right. People at I'm getting itchy.
Look, I can already, I can already see, especially if it's a 2-day tournament. Whoever's not playing, I see Darwin is a great commentator. He's local. I would say I would commentate, but I suck at commentating.
You think you suck at commentating? You'd bet.
Well, actually, I've never commentated before, so I don't know if I'm good or not.
You commentated with Dion in the Iowa final.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that didn't
terrible.
count because that was the sleep deprived. Because Dion was terrible on that one too. I think Dion, didn't you fall asleep in the middle of that one? That was.
I don't remember. They all blur together. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a sleep deprived one. But anyway, so yeah, Johnny, they got plenty of people around here that'll jump on the mic. Nick Sperry could do the whole
the editing and stuff. Maybe, if the people, dang it,
the people want it.
You're gonna make me. Okay, it's so much work. We can bust out X Zone more than once a year. I'm not committing to anything, okay? More than once a year. I'm not committing to anything yet. All right, we have some time left in the show. We've got about 15 minutes left. Let's try to cruise through a couple of things here. But again, basically what I want to say, my World experience was the X Zone. That is what I came in early, got everything set up, and left late. I was one of the last people to leave every day, shutting everything down. My biggest regret, of course, is that I didn't have as much time to hang out with people because I was providing the service. So I did get to see some people. I got to love on a lot of people in between rounds. So that was good. And, of course, being sick didn't help. If you guys might be able to hear that I don't quite sound 100% yet, it's because I'm not. There's just like a sickness circle going on in my house right now. Lots of fun. Lots of bleach everywhere. Just wiping down everything. But it was amazing and absolutely love it. League Night X Zone. They're asking for League Night X Zone.
I think we could do it. We can handle it.
Marcel says, we can handle it. And then when it's time to tear down, peace, bye.
No, I'll play. I'll be. You need somebody to play the games.
I do need somebody to play. I need people to help set up and tear down, though. All right. And yes, shout out to Isophane. Isophane's part of the X Zone crew. He was the how do we say this and not get him in trouble? The trainer. He was the trainer. X Zone trainer. That's all we'll say. Alrighty. So let's just go ahead and talk about some of the big things of Patron Saint of X Zone. Awesome. There were some new things that got talked about today, the last couple days. So the epic stuff. Epic stuff. Let's go ahead and flip there. Boom! We got rules reference and points for the large ship, epic ships, and we got a whole rules reference just for epic. There's all kinds of things in here. We are not going to read the whole thing, not today. We'll break it down maybe more next week, depending on what happens. But if you haven't seen it yet, how many pages? There's a lot of pages. 8 pages of specifically for the epic play. They describe, explain how the wing works. They also explain there's new vocabulary as to how some of the swarms work. Also the victory counters and how to play the game differently when counting points, not necessarily points destroyed, but points for the different scenarios. There's also some new, brand new vocabulary I've never seen here before. There was, here we go, get commander upgrades now. You have, like I said, we have the wing, you have allies, you have casualties now. I don't know what all this stuff is, but it's out on the website. Make sure you take a look. But they also added some things to the regular rules reference, mostly to incorporate things for Epic. But there are 2 very important things in regards to the regular game that are now being regulated. If we go to attacking and defending, when it comes to rolling these dice, Will, what's that new thing right there in that pink text?
Oh, 9 dice Darwin's gonna be so sad.
No more 9 dice Darwin.
It says that there's always a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 6.
Yep.
Now
Can't go more than 6.
I assume that there's some sort of upgrade card in Epic that lets you roll additional dice, whether that's range or so. I haven't looked through it, but that's a little ridiculous when you got a cloaked ship through a rock, range 5. You get 6, which is good. That's honestly though, that might be smart thinking on FFG's part, because it's going to slow down power creep and just the regular tournaments as well.
I'm upset, Will.
You're upset about what?
Goji. I can't Goji anymore.
No Goji in. No, they saw your Goji fund.
Goji defense tower dead.
Nope.
It's gone.
No
it's over.
No, you're talking about the max 6 dice?
Yeah.
No more. Because what could you get? What were you getting Goji up to if you have 8 bombs on the board?
You could do 12. You could do 12? No. Yeah, you can do 12.
When you played it, what was the most you actually got?
3. But I could have tried. I could have tried. For those of you who don't know, Goji lets you get additional defense dice for friendly mines in range 1 when you're defending. The Goji Defense
Yeah.
Tower. That's just like you put a bunch of bombs together.
I guess I didn't even think about that in an epic scale of having like 20, 30 defense dice from Goji.
I'm
Like,
telling you, Goji. Oh, my plan. Like epic day one. That was my plan. Okay, I'm not lying. Like it was like day one. Listen, the entire Galactic Republic are just going to snuggle right here next to this tower of bombs. That's it. But c'est la vie. No more. So, anyway, I want to talk about that. That does apply to both attack and defense dice. A maximum of 6 can be used. They changed a couple of little vocabulary things for charges. They just kind of, I won't say clarify, but they just cleaned it up, trying to make it a little easier to reference. In basically because of how huge ships work, they're trying to make it so to kind of be a catch-all for both. One other note is bonus attacks in the regular game still you can only do one bonus attack per turn, except for huge ships. When you're playing with huge ships, they can actually do as many bonus attacks as they want. Free reign, whatever you want. So, just a quick note there. Again, we'll talk more about Epic and all the huge ship stuff later. Don't worry, fans of Epic, we'll be back. If you don't know what we're talking about, maybe you're new to the game, Epic ships are the big ships, the ones that are bigger than large ships. They take up 2 pegs, and they're amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. Super excited. Now, for that 11/8 release date, it's not clear, and I don't believe it actually is including the huge ships and the conversion kits. I think it's just that Epic box in order to get the wing tool and the scenarios that are in there. So just a note there. Let's go ahead and hit our question of the week. All right. Question of the week comes from Jason Chung, and he asks, how do you think FFG will handle returning ships from the other factions of the Resistance in terms of products from what we saw in the most recent episode 9 trailer? If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there's a scene where there's like a bajillion ships in it, and we're assuming, of course, as people who have not seen the movie yet, that that's all like the Resistance going against the First Order / Empire / who knows? We don't know anything. Marcel, what do you if you were FFG and Lucasfilm shows like 200 ships of all different factions fighting as the Resistance, what do you do?
Again, you're assuming that there are all the Resistance.
I mean, yeah,
and they are
that's
not.
Assuming that is all true.
No, the reason I'm saying you're assuming is because you could have different factions getting together to fight towards a common cause. Case in point, it could be scum ships, rebels. It could be mercenaries and bounty hunters that are teaming up with the Resistance for a common cause. So making the assumption that they're all fighting under the same banner might not be true. I mean, they may be fighting for the same cause, but under a different banner. Just think about it. World War II. In World War II, you have a lot of countries versus a lot of countries, but they're not necessarily the same faction. They're just the same common cause.
Okay,
so that's
fair.
One. And two, I think FFG at this point has enough. A large enough library of backlog ships that they don't really need to just pick off of whatever the new movie is, because they're going to have new ships coming out with the with the Mandalore series. They've got other cartoons that are going to be coming out. They've got stuff from the video games, from the books. If you just go to Wikipedia and just look through all the different things that are on Wikipedia, or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, there's plenty of content. There's plenty of cargo fighters, corvettes. I would love to see a Corellian corvette cruiser and have that just be like a super fast, dodgy, fast, medium base support ship that's just there basically to not get killed. And this game, the mechanics of this game is just, when people, when they came out with the Aces High, which is kind of like a mixture of furball, and then you've got, I mean, there's just so much that you can do with different scenarios and make tournaments, as long as you formalize them, and as long as as long as FFG formalizes them, and FFG like puts structure behind it and makes it an actual tournament, like the Coruscant Invitational, for example. They've been able to tweak the rules a little bit. Yeah, there's plenty of content out there that I wouldn't worry too much about what you see in a trailer or what you see in episode 27. What are we at now?
9.
Yeah, whatever.
We're on episode 129. We're a little bit ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, there's stuff from the video games, there's stuff from books, there's stuff from cartoons and different shows that are going to be coming up that I think FFG, as long as the game stays fresh, as long as the game stays interesting, as long as there's enough player base, and as long as they keep paying Mickey Mouse that license fee, they've got enough content to go for a long time.
All right, what do you think, Will?
Pretty much the same thing. I think we're going to see the Y-Wings. I think that's like going to be predominant in I guess there's B-Wings too, Y-Wings and B-Wings.
There was a B-Wing, and that's so let's go down that path. I need to grab something really quickly.
All
right. So Y-Wings, B-Wings. How do you think they might differ from what we've seen for the Rebels?
Barrel linked Red Evade. It's an inside joke, but no. Well, I think we'll just have to see the movie. They might have a cool Y-Wing. The problem with these is that while the T-70 is a different ship, right? If I'll say this, that the T-70 feels like a different ship versus the T-65, and I think that the B-Wings and the Y-Wings that they're using are still old school models, so they're going to have that same model number, like the BTL A and B, B-Wing or Y-Wing, I mean, and I forget what I ignore it every time I see it, but it's on whatever the symbology for the B-Wing is. What do they call it now?
It's a lot of letters. I don't know.
It's an ASF-01 B-Wing. But I think that these are actually going to be the same models as the previous versions. So I think they're going to be extremely similar.
I like somebody in the chat here. Actually, I like they could use the scavenged or modified. Like, so for instance, Zori Bliss, her Y-Wing, right, is I don't know, the engines are pink for some reason. Okay, this is the Lego version, right? She obviously changed up the paint job, but I don't know. Like, I could see like a modified BTLA4 Y-Wing. Maybe.
I mean, if they see the easy answer is you slap a tech upgrade onto it, and it really opens up the possibilities with these ships. You get like specific tech upgrades for them. I think it'd be easy. The only thing I see that in like that cool, like everybody's in the shot, ship shot. I think that the Resistance does need a medium base. They got 2 decent large bases, and plenty of small bases. But it'd be cool to see like not a quad jumper, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like a ship like that, a very scummy ship, just kind of thrown into the Resistance. But I don't think it's just going to be somebody random. It's going to have to be somebody who's got like some screen time or somebody, or a comic book or something. They're going to have to be pretty heavily linked into the Resistance, like what Marcel was saying. I don't think we're going to get the Ghost, the Shadowcaster, All these other a U-wing. I don't think we're gonna get all of those. No, but the B-wing, Y-wing, a nice medium base, and wrap it up. Because that's they're gonna have to. I mean, they're gonna have to shell out the where we got the Firestorm. Is that, I don't know, or Fireball, and the Von Rogs coming out. But like, man, they better get the rest of these ships out here quick because that trilogy is over. Like,
That's spin them up. Let's go.
yeah. We're only, I would say, like next year we get a couple more, and then it's done. Like until they make new content.
All right. So, pretty interesting answers. And I think you guys touched on all the things I would say. So we'll just move on here. Man, we are right at time. I think we'll do the list of the week. I think we have time. We'll do it. We'll do it. I know people really like lists. Talking about them. This list comes from Deslin / is on Discord. By the way, if you want to submit lists for list of the week or questions for question of the week, join our Discord, !Discord in the chat, or click the link in the description down below. This comes from Deslin / xNeurl, which is how it was listed on Discord, with no comment, just drop the list and wants to see what happens. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and hit up the our list machine here.
I think the comment, there's only one word for this list, and it's the name of it. Focus.
Focus.
Oh.
So I'll go ahead and read the list here. So we have Isigi Tuketu. That is a K-Wing pilot whose ability reads, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 defends or performs an attack, it may spend your focus tokens as if that ship has them, with Perceptive Co-Pilot, giving it 2 focuses, 1 available to pass it around, and barrage rockets. Then in the ARC 170, you have Shara Bay with Jin Urso crew and R3 Astromech. Shara Bay's ability says, while you defend or perform a primary attack, you may spend 1 lock you have on the enemy ship to add 1 focus result to your dice results. Then you have Jake Farrell in the A-Wing, a little more common. I won't read his ability there, with Crackshot. And then you have Garvin Dreas in the T-65 X-Wing, who says, after you spend a focus token, you may choose 1 friendly ship at range 1 to 3. That ship gains 1 focus token. One important thing to note about Garvin's ability, he must have a focus result to spend to actually pass that focus along, just so that we have that understanding while going into it. William and Marcel, who wants it first?
I got an idea. I don't know. All right. So the first thing I want to do, I honestly though, I love it how it is. It works. Got the Jin in there for throwing some evades. I got heavily modified arc shots there. I think overall it's doing great, but there's one problem. Not enough focuses. Not enough focus shenanigans, and I want more focus shenanigans. So I'm actually going to change Shara Bay to Garvin. So drop X-Wing completely.
Oh, so just all right.
X-Wing.
Boom.
Sheriff Garvin.
Okay.
And my 4th ship is Kyle Katarn. Kyle Katarn's a Hawk. If you strip out some of those upgrades out of there, like Perceptive Co-Pilot and things like that, you can squeeze on the Moldy Crow for more focus shenanigans. Kyle Katarn says at the start of combat phase, you can transfer 1 of your focus tokens to a friendly ship in your firing arc. So now you got focus passing from Jake, Garvin, Asige. How did you say it? Asage?
Isigi Tuketu, man.
Isigi
Tuketu. By the way, Deslin's in the chat right now. What's up, Deslin?
I mean, I think you're adding like 3 more syllables to that word, but
no,
all right.
It's Isigi Tuketu.
All right.
Isigi. Two
I'll,
can
I'll,
two.
I'll, I'll trust you over my ignorance. A Sege. Um, anyways, passes focuses, Garvin passes focuses, Jake passes focuses, so why not go all out and get Kyle Katarn in there, passing focuses too. Get the Moldy Crow title, I guess. I like actually Jin Crew in there. Jin Crew's smart. If you're doing all these focus passing, bring the Jin Crew. I don't know how else you load it out, but that's what I would want to do.
All right, Marcel, your turn.
Sure, I'm playing with it right now.
We're
So
refreshing that. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing he's got 4, 4, 4, and 3. So I'm guessing he wants to do something with that 4, 4, 4, 3, and he wants to pass all that focus token around. The issue that I see with this particular one, and again, Jake passing off more focuses, I get all that, but Jake is kind of fast for this particular list, so I actually would love to see. I'm looking at two different things right now. So let's start off by dropping Generso, because I think Generso's kind of this list wants to hit. It doesn't want to evade.
Will disagrees. That's all right. That's why we're here. We're here to agree to disagree. All right. That's such a cliche term. Anyway, Jin Urso gone.
Jin Urso gone. So Jin Urso gone, and it's going to be pretty simple change. It's not a whole lot of change. So Jin Urso gone, and then Jake is gone.
Okay. Poof.
The rules were I get to change one ship. So I'm changing my one ship.
You're right. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm following the rules.
So he's saying that he would change more, but excellent. Continue. He's following the rules.
Yeah, so I would change more. So take Jake out, and I put Arvel in.
Oh, okay. Just change it to Arvel. Okay, I just deleted the A-wing for no reason. All right, Arvel.
Yeah, and then throw intimidation and crack shot on him. And basically, the only real difference that I put right there is that you're taking Jake, who in this particular list you want to have him flying around, barrel rolling, boosting, and staying out of the fight to pass focuses off it, because he is faster than every other ship on here. Whereas with Arvel, you take advantage of his speed, and you take you just basically throw him in there, make him the blocker. So now you have 3, 3, 4, 4. You have 2 3s and 2 4s on there, and just kind of use Arvel with intimidation as a way to push damage through. So again, it's super minor change. You don't need to evade. Evade is the opposite of violence, and in Gold Squadron we choose violence.
That's a soundbite. All right. All right, everybody. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 129 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I want to remind you guys to go ahead, follow us on Twitch. Remember, guys, we only stream on Twitch now. Okay? We're no longer streaming to YouTube as well because of issues with our basically the tools that we were using to stream to both. They're not reliably working anymore. It was causing issues on our side. Basically, we get this weird loop where the server that would split the video would crash. Like, it would just, at random times, it would just not be available at times. It gave us a bunch of issues at Worlds. And Twitch being a really large server, like they don't have these type of issues that this smaller company has. So we will be...
YouTube, smaller company.
Well, no. It's like if we went just to YouTube, it would be fine too. But we have to go to just. I get it.
It's just funny the way you phrased it.
Right. We have to go to just one platform, and I'm choosing Twitch because of Twitch Prime. Like that is. There's no reason not to use that. It's a really easy way for you guys to support us. So. We're going to be streaming exclusively to Twitch. Of course, everything gets uploaded to our YouTube channel, so stay subscribed there. Have those notifications on. If you ever need anything, reach out. There is a chat. What? Some random text message popped up there. Anyway, thank you guys, everybody who has been listening and watching. You guys are amazing. We do this at Gold Squadron for you guys, and apparently, according to Ryan Farmer, because I guess we're a little sick in the head. There you go. Thanks, everyone. That's cool. So that's a joke, by the way. I love Ryan Farmer. He's my brother. and it's great. So, thank you for everybody for watching. For Marcel, William, and everybody here at Gold Squadron. Gold Squadron